Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Car Reviews podcast here on CollectorCarCanada.CA. This week we have another two great vehicles to tell you about. The first is a 1984 Porsche 928S. It's on the website as Lot 212. And the other one we have for you is a 1979 Toyota Land Cruiser, 4-speed manual with 4-wheel drive, and this one's been inspected. So on the Porsche, a considerable collector. In fact, the seller of this one bought a car from us earlier in the season. And this 1984 Porsche 928S is finished in slate blue over a blue leather interior. It's equipped with a 4.7 liter V8 engine, good for 234 horsepower, and an automatic transmission in this one. So the 4-speed manual transmission by Mercedes. Porsche commissioned Mercedes to build its automatics for the 928s in this era. And that big power plant drives the rear wheels. So this one checks in at just under 136,000 miles, running strong, well attended to. So please do take a look at our detailed listing. Several videos there, including car driving, and over 200 photos, I think, of that one. Again, it's lot 212 on CollectorCarCanada.CA. And the Toyota 1979 Toyota Land Cruiser FJ40, 4-speed manual, 4-wheel drive with an inspection. So the owner selling now has owned the truck about 4 years. Prior to that, it was owned by an airplane mechanic, which serves to explain, between that and the low miles driven by the current owner, serves to explain the excellent mechanical review that the inspector gave it. Please do take a look at the inspector's report. It's on the detailed listing for lot 213 on CollectorCarCanada.CA. And it'll confirm what I'm saying about the mechanical condition of the truck. Just taking a look at the detailed listing of all the photos, I think we have over 200, several videos as well as supplement. The inspector says about what you'd expect in terms of the cosmetics and structure of the truck. So the number one vehicle for a 79 Land Cruiser FJ40, quite an astronomical price. You can look it up. But we don't claim this one to be a number one. It's a driver ready to go as is, and many will prefer the rugged look of it today. The 40 series, built by Toyota, it's among the series of Land Cruiser built by Toyota, known for ruggedness and reliability over technology and luxury. So, as I say, there are many people who like Land Cruisers. It's a bit of a cult in and of its own, who will love the look of this just the way it is. But there's money in it for the restorer as well, if someone wants to turn it into a number one or number two truck. But do take a look, finished in olive and gray on the interior. It shows 10,000 miles, but this one's a total mileage unknown. But as I say, mechanical inspection on hand on the listing, lot 213, CollectorCarCanada.CA for the 1979 Toyota Land Cruiser FJ40, 4-speed manual, 4-wheel drive, inspected, and the white roof you'll see there is even removable. It's a bolt system. It's a little more, we'll say, dated than the current power hardtops and the convertibles of today, but that roof is also removable. Take a good look. I think we do a good job of capturing the current condition of the truck. The inspector, the third-party inspector, has his say. So that one's lot 213. And again, the 1984 Porsche 928S, lot 212 on CollectorCarCanada.CA in slate blue over the blue leather interior. Thanks for watching, and on to the next car. Hi everyone, and welcome to another great car on the Car Reviews podcast. As you may know, I'll just remind you if you don't, we also have the Collector Car Stories podcast, where once a week we talk to a fellow enthusiast about his or her car, some car stories, or maybe a car event they've attended. and we have a little fun with it. We like to share the stories. In case you think you might have a great car or car story or tale to share with us, please contact us. Maybe you could be on one of our future episodes. You can get us at admin@CollectorCarCanada.CA or hit us up on the contact us page on the website CollectorCarCanada.CA. So here we are. We've got a 1984 Porsche 928S for today's car review. This is going to be lot 212 on CollectorCarCanada.CA. This car, you can see it's got the upgraded wheels, a Porsche set of wheels, 17s, upgraded from the stock 16-inch manholes. These are staggered. The manholes on an 84 would have been a square setup. But we'll take you through a walk through the car. What I'm going to do next is we'll start it up and we'll have a little listen. And then we'll listen to the engine idle and check out the pipes, sound of the idle on the exhaust side, and then we'll have a little tour of the car. So here we go. So this 928, the key is on the right side of the steering wheel, unlike in a 911 where it would be on the left. So here we go, we're starting it up. So a nice easy start for this big 4.7 liter V8. I'll come back and get the camera and do a handhold for the. Okay, well you can hear the rumble of that V8. I haven't even released the hood yet from inside the car, so we'll do that first. That's over here. As I say, a 4.7 liter V8 in this 1984 Porsche 928S. We recently had a 1982 Porsche 928, and that's before the S. So it had a 4.5 liter engine with a little bit less horsepower. As I say, this one's a 4.7 liter with 234 horsepower factory rating. So I'll just give you a little tour. Very frequently see seepage on these power steering fluid reservoirs. This one looks pretty dry. So I'll close that up and we'll take a little walk around to the rear of the car. We can hear the exhaust at idle. We do have some driving videos of the car on our detailed listing. Again, it's lot 212 on CollectorCarCanada.CA. You can hear a little more of the engine rumbling in those videos and hear how it sounds under load. But here are the twin pipes. Let's have a listen. Okay, so yeah, it sounds nice and healthy. But before I shut her down, I'll show you the odometer. You can see from this instrumentation, the dominant measure is Imperial. So this is a US car. Check the Carfax on our listing, lot 212. CollectorCarCanada.CA, and that'll give you the information about when it was imported from the US. But as we see, that odometer reads just under 136,000 miles. We'll convert that into kilometers for your convenience on the detailed listing. So let's take a little tour of the exterior of this 1984 Porsche 928S. Oh, now that I see these headlights, it'd be fun to see those pop up. We do have a video, a dedicated video on the detailed listing, just demonstrating that they're functional, but while I'm thinking of it, let's do it for this video as well. The key needs to be in the on position, so I just reached over the passenger seat to grab it. So now we're in on, and I'll flip those headlights up. I've already seen them illuminated. There's a xenon look set of bulbs in there. but that's what they look like. Interestingly, on these lenses, the front face of this headlight is all glass. There's no metal around it, so it really does differentiate it from other pop-up headlights of the day, I would suggest. Another fascinating thing, the Porsche engineers think of everything. So you can see this little lip at the top of the glass here. That, of course, carries light with it. So from the driver's seat, if something seems amiss with your headlights, you can tell if one of them is not working without getting out of the car, just because you won't see this little bit illuminated. So a fascinating feature on this 928, and there are many. But I'll just flick those down and I'll turn the key back to the off position. So, yeah, a striking car. Even today, I would suggest that the appearance of this car still looks pretty modern. When you get inside, you see more of an 80s look to it. But this is rumored to have been the replacement for the 911 back when it was first conceived in the early to mid 70s. Of course, it's a front engine water-cooled V8, very different from the rear engine, then air-cooled flat six of the 911s. Of course, Porsche moved to water-cooled 911s in 1998 model year. So, but as it turned out, people loved the 911s, and the Porsche 928 had a run from the 78 model year through to 95. So this is an S, so it sort of superseded that base 1982 928 we recently sold on the website. So again, a 4.7 liter V8 in this one, 234 horsepower rating from the factory. The owner has upgraded the wheels. I was saying earlier, there's a 5-spoke wheel on there with a Porsche crest for a center cap. They're skinned in general G-Max. I think it's ZEO2, but we'll get that into the detailed listing. Staggered up front, they're 225, 45, 17 with a W rating. Back here in the rear, we're looking at 245, 45, 17, also with the W rating, also a general G-Max tire. So four matching tires on this car. So this is I'll call it steel blue. I haven't yet translated the German name for the color from the door jamb. The sticker remains in place. So it reads something like Schiefer Blue Metallic. So I'm not sure what the Schiefer is. Certainly the Blau is blue and then metallic, same word in English. There's a look at the VIN sticker. So manufactured in May of 1984, which translates certainly to a 1984 model year. Beautiful Porsche logoed crest in the front. You can see they're not on now, but a set of fog lights. You can see there's 2 sets of white lights, rectangular in shape on each side. So one are the fogs, like I was saying. The other are a dedicated flash to pass light. So yeah, this was an Autobahn eater when it was new. So with no speed limits, people were serious about their speed on the Autobahn, and there's a flash to pass. The car is equipped with a sunroof. However, it's non-functional at this time. The owner suspects it's a relay, but he's not taken the time to properly diagnose it. You can see there's a set of 4-wheel discs, and this car is equipped with anti-lock brakes. And here is a pretty clean fuel door. I was into it earlier. It's a little dusty. There's some tire information in here. And these caps, this would be the original, certainly the original style, but probably the original cap. And they lock with a key. A tell for me that this is a US car from the outside. Of course, we saw the instrumentation earlier with miles as the dominant measure. But this unleaded fuel only sign or sticker, decal, is in English only. The Canadian market models have a bilingual decal there. So we see the rear spoiler here kind of integrated with the glass. Now that was an ad for the S models when they began. I keep stuttering on it. I cannot recall if the S began in 1983 or 1984. I'm thinking 1983, but we'll get that into our detailed listing. The pre-S models did not have a spoiler. And one thing you also see is these pre-S4 models. So the S4 began in 1987. People will put an S4 spoiler on them, but this one's got the factory correct spoiler still. Very few emblems on the outside of the car. We saw the Porsche crest on the hood, an aluminum hood, very lightweight. And here we see Porsche in script at the rear. I mentioned the lightweight and the aluminum. I do know that the hood, both front fenders and both doors are aluminum, so that does save on weight. I always on these older cars, it's fun to see little tells, but it's nice to not see key scratches on either the key cylinder or even the paint here. I noticed the same on the doors. And getting a look at the exhaust pipes here, it's a dual setup, and certainly out of the factory, it was 2 pipes coming out on the left side, and these chrome tip exits are a nice touch on the car. So long as I was mentioning those key cylinders, here's the one where you'd expect the most wear. Of course, this car is pre-remote access to a car, so every time that door's been unlocked, it's been with a key, and it's still nice and tidy. So yeah, that's a good look at the exterior. One other little feature here, ahead of its time for 1984, is it's equipped with headlight washers. So why don't we continue on to the interior and have a look there. Matching blue interior. The leather on the seats looks pretty good. Certainly no tears on this. Usually the driver's seat is the one that it's going to show the most wear, because of course it gets the most use. But this driver's seat, sure, it shows a tiny little bit of wrinkling from use over the years, but it's pretty clean. Down on the side here, we see power buttons, so back and forth, up and down. And that's a recline function. So that looks like a 6-way power seat to me. Despite the key being on the right side of the car, this is a little bit different from convention. The handbrake is on the left, and here's the remote trunk release. Hatch release, I suppose. A really fun fact about these 928s is that there's not only a hatch release over here, but even the passenger gets one. So I'm not going to demonstrate it right this second, but the owner did demonstrate it for us earlier, so it's functional. I'll add that the pre-S models, this would be a button for the stereo volume. So I do see a set of original mats in here. They do show some wear, but given the miles in the year, I'd say they look pretty good. We're missing a speaker cover here, the speaker grill, but the 2 speakers up there on each door is a factory appointment, and that's a mirror control. The windows are controlled from here in the center, and then there is central locking, but that's a manual control for the lock right above it. So over to the instrumentation, headlights, fog lights, and this 0 is to reset the trip odometer. All analog on the 928s through the 1988 model year. So as I was saying earlier, a US market car with the miles per hour and miles as the dominant measure in the instrumentation. Just under 136,000 miles. And basically the owner has this parked until it gets to his new owner. He's probably got about 8 miles to get home today. So this is going to go to its new owner with under 136,000 miles. Rear defrost, 4-way hazards, and that's the ignition for the ignition. Stock, as you'd expect, turn signal and bright light switch. Over here we've got wipers, and down below here, that's a cruise control operation. And in the center, we've got climate control, another tell of a Canadian car. The temperatures on the climate control are in Celsius. The owner's got himself a modern Kenwood unit. I think I see KCC. Oh, I can't read that without my glasses, but I did ask, and the car is equipped, this Kenwood deck is equipped with Bluetooth. Automatic transmission in this car, so a 4-speed automatic, and it was built by Mercedes-Benz, which happens to be across town from Porsche in Stuttgart. Both Porsche and Mercedes-Benz are in Stuttgart. I forgot to photograph this, but I'll demonstrate it for those of you watching the videos. This light here in the door is functional. And a bit of an anachronism, that would have been for change at the toll booths. As I was saying, here are the window controls. This is the sunroof control. As I mentioned, it's not functional right now, and this would be for the rear wiper. Right here, that's a temperature sensor for the cabin temperature and the climate control. You can see that there's a dash cover in place. There is some cracking in the dash. It's not perfect, but I've seen much worse. You can take a look at our detailed listing for a look at the dash without the dash cover. Inside the glove box, I did notice the original owner's manual warranty information. So that's a nice thing to have 40 years later, certainly. And that red attaché is embossed in Porsche, so that's stock as well. I'll walk over to the passenger side because there's something to see over there. Passenger seat looks just as good. The release for the to put the seat up for rear seat access is missing on this side. But over here is underneath this strap. This pulls away, and back behind this wooden panel is a fuse box. So I think I probably want to fix that up when we're done shooting. But there it is for now. Another ingenious thing on these 928s are the parcel shelves for the front occupants. Both driver and passenger get one. And there's the light on this side in operation. Another ingenious Porsche function or feature. I didn't show it on the driver door, but here we are on the passenger door. That flips up. A little cubby in there too for some more storage. Rear seats. So this car is known as a GT Grand Tourer. I just have the passenger seat in operation here to give us a good look at these rear seats. So certainly good enough for a smaller occupant, like for children on a longer trip. And around town for a quick trip, an adult could fit back there as well, I would suggest. I do see a little bit of sun bleaching on the carpets. It's probably worst on the rear hatch carpet. We'll take a look at that in a minute here. But you can see a slight difference. It's as much the lighting as anything right now, but you see a slight difference in the tone of the carpet on the side of the console compared to on that passenger footwell carpet. So another look at the storage cubby, this one on the driver's side. So over here to the hatch we go. Now, people are sometimes ask me what the lowest common denominator on a car is, and that's what I'm going to show you right now. The cosmetics of this car, exterior-wise, are really great. On the inside, it does show a little bit of wear. Certainly, the rear seat backs show cracking, so that foam is exposed, and I can only conclude that it's been in the sun with the rear facing out. Another fun feature about these 928s are these rear sunshades, which are great for, believe it or not, for front seat passengers when the sun is setting behind you. And as I say, here's the carpet that's probably been sun bleached the most. It's a little lighter in color than the rest of the dark blue. But that's a good look at the hatch. Underneath here, well, in this panel is a tool kit. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to open that with one hand or not, but there's a photo of the tool. There we go. There's a photo of the toolkit on the detailed listing. Here's another look. I think we're missing a set of pliers here and maybe a screwdriver here if you wanted to be complete. There's the part number if anyone wanted to look it up. You might find a checklist for the tools in there. I'm not going to pull up that rear hatch carpet, but down below this area is where a spare tire that needs to be inflated before use, as well as the battery. But yeah, I'll give it one more look with the doors open. Certainly the shape of those doors is unique. Not a flat panel on the rear. It's pretty neat, pretty shapely. Kind of a neat look to it. And then those headlights certainly unique to the 928. And then in 1992, along came the Porsche 928. It's 3-liter 4-cylinder, so only half the cylinders of this car, but its headlights are pretty close mimicking of this 928. So as you get another good look at the exterior in the sun, and I'll jump back on screen for a few concluding thoughts. So yeah, there's a good look at our 1984 Porsche 928S, 4.7 liter V8 engine. Came out of the factory with 234 horsepower. It's got a 4-speed automatic transmission built by Mercedes, commissioned by Porsche, built by Mercedes. And it's going to be lot 212 on CollectorCarCanada.CA. So please take a look at our detailed listing where you'll find, I think, over 200 photos, several more videos. We'll have a Carfax report on there. And yeah, so that about sums it up. Thank you for watching, and remember to take a look also at our Collector Car Stories podcast. Some great stories on there. In particular, you might want to check out the road trip to the Arctic a couple of our friends took back in August. Not just to the Arctic, but they drove all the way from Ancaster, Ontario to the Arctic Ocean. Just take a look at our CCC podcasts menu item on the website, CollectorCarCanada.CA, and that will link you up. CollectorCarCanada.CA, lot 212, 1984 Porsche 928S. Thank you again for watching. Hi everyone, and welcome to another car here on the Car Reviews podcast with CollectorCarCanada.CA. So today we have an interesting one. It's a 1979 Toyota Land Cruiser FJ40. So the 40 implies, with many series of Land Cruiser, of course, over the years, the 40 is one of the series where this Land Cruiser is known more for ruggedness and reliability over technology and comfort. So yeah, a really rugged piece of machinery here. What we'll do is we'll start it up, and then we'll have a listen to the engine idling as well as the exhaust at idle. So this one is a carbureted machine, and there's a choke here as well. So if you see me adjusting things before we start it, that's what I'm doing. So here we go. We'll give it a start and listen to that engine and go from there. So I see that we're in neutral here. I'm going to adjust the choke outward a bit. And here we go for the start. So as I say, it's got the manual choke here, controlled on the dash. This isn't the first start of the day. You can see a cooler start in our detailed listing. So I only opened the choke about halfway. You can hear it idling a bit quicker than a natural idle. So I'm going to roll down the choke a bit, and the idle will slow. And this 79 Land Cruiser FJ40 is ready to idle. So I'll hop out and we'll take a closer look underneath in the engine compartment. So here's a nice beauty shot of the 79 Land Cruiser FJ40. You'll understand why in a minute, why there are no hood releases from inside the cabin. The hood's released on either side here. Those are spring loaded, those releases are. So we get those done. The hood will open a crack, and then for safety, there's another hood release in here. A little tricky with operating the camera, but there we go. And then the prop rod is going to pop down from the hood itself. We'll get that into place. And that prop rod's into place, so let's take a quick look. So we've got an inline 6-cylinder on this 79 Toyota Land Cruiser FJ40, displacing 4.2 liters. So there's an engine code there. And when I get in to show you the inline 6, at least the spark plug cables, you can get a listen to it. Belt's running nice and freely, and that fan is going too. If you look closely at this battery, you'll see a date of 8/24. So it was manufactured just in August 2024. Nice new battery in here. Here's a little more car data. And you see that 2F engine code on here as well. So I promised you listen to the engine at idle. Let's head back to the single exhaust here in the rear. Nice easy idle. So I'll head back over to the cab and cut the engine, and we can take a good look at starting with the exterior. I'll put the hood down, but I won't do the side releases. So yeah, without connecting those side releases, the hood's just resting in place. So 1979 Toyota Land Cruiser FJ40 with a 4.2 liter carbureted engine. As you might gather from the look of it, it's a four-wheel drive vehicle. When we get into the inside, I'll give you a look at the controls for four-wheel drive. It's got 2 high, 4 high, and 4 low. Up front, the Toyota is equipped with a winch. There's a good look at it. Pretty nice and clean. I don't see any signs of rust on the winch itself. It's controlled with a power controller in the glove box. Again, we'll show you that when we get inside as well. And there's the front of the winch with the hook. Tow hooks on either side, as well as up above here. Big, 2 big headlights with the Toyota grille, and close Toyota followers will recall the Toyota FJ40, which was released in the 2000s, which also had a cult following, much like this one did. And the front end of this was definitely an inspiration for those early 2000s FJ40s. So there are various series of the Land Cruiser. There have been a lot of different Land Cruisers over the years. As I was saying in the opening, the FJ40, the 40 series, implies ruggedness and reliability over comfort and technology. And just like the North American Jeeps, which are now marketed by Chrysler, of course, these Land Cruisers were originally developed as wartime vehicles in Japan in the 30s. Getting up closer to the hood here, these little releases are for flipping down the windshield. So when the roof is off, the roof is removable. It's a bolt system though, so we're not going to take it off today. But that, as you can see from the hinges here, the windshield does fold down, so it can be a completely open air vehicle. This here is a vent for air to the feet of driver, and there's one on the passenger side as well. We've got a shot of the car with those open on the detailed listing for this Toyota FJ40 Land Cruiser. A running board there with a check plate pattern. And no, one look at this truck. No one's claiming this to be a #1 condition truck. Still running nicely, as you saw, but it's got a genuinely rugged look to it. Getting a little closer here. It does have mirrors on either side, exterior mirrors on either side, and the roof is white, much like the FJ40s of the 2000s. They made those all with white mirrors as well. And then another removable piece, you can see the gap here. This panel is removable as well, but with the body fully in place, I'll show you this window here. As you can tell here, these are hinges and there's a release here. That back window opens up for a little bit better airflow with that panel in place. I'm not going to open it now, but as I say, like I said earlier, there are photos of that on our detailed listing, just like there are for those foot vents for the front occupants. So working our way around, yeah, lots of badges of honor on this 79 Toyota Land Cruiser FJ40. You can see the sort of mud and snow rated tires at all four corners. They're a light truck tire, it's worth noting. The measurements are a little different. So they're a 30-inch tire, and BF Goodrich with the white letters. But what prompted me was to look at the spare tire. There's a 14-inch spare, and that's a full-size tire. However, not quite as grippy as the BF Goodrich white lettered tires currently mounted on the car. There's a trailer hitch in place. You can see that the car's not currently registered, no license plate on it. The current owners had the car since 2020 when it was included with the property he bought where we're shooting this. And with the pandemic, he had planned to get it registered, and things have changed. It's time to move it along to the next owner. So there's a good look at the suspension and the big rear differential. Got those rough country McPherson struts. This spare tire swings away. So there's a good release here. Pretty easy to operate. That just swings out. And we can open the rear doors and get a look back here. So there's a look with the rear doors open. We'll wait to go inside until till we do the interior. As I say, there's some rugged looks to this 79 Toyota Land Cruiser FJ40. The biggest scratching here on the body is here on this corner, and there's a bit of paint peeling here right to the front of the passenger's rear wheel well. Fuel door, the fuel cap underneath. I won't open that now, but we do have a photo of what's underneath there on our detailed listing. Here's a look at one of those rear side windows that opens from the inside by the rear passengers. See some damage here on this lock cylinder, but the door's operational, the latch is operational. And working our way around, there's that running board with the check plate pattern, the vent. This is a manual antenna, so no power on this. It's operated the old-fashioned way. And a recognizable, familiar Toyota Land Cruiser emblem here. And as I was saying earlier, it's got this Land Cruiser's four-wheel drive. So it's got locking hubs up here. So the old-fashioned way of engaging four-wheel drive, you pop up and you turn those hubs. And we'll get another good look at the front end with the white grille frame and the big round headlights. So let's take a look at the inside of the truck. I'll also mention that this seller, here's the worst flaw on this side. I'll show these two. Right there and right there. This seller has opted for our a mobile pre-purchase inspection. It's actually being done a couple hours after we're shooting this video, but do take a look on our detailed listing for the results of that pre-purchase inspection. It's something we offer at a modest charge for all sellers. I corrected myself by leaving out extra because listings are at no charge on CollectorCarCanada.CA. So what looks to be original vinyl mats are in place. I say that partly because of the look of the wear of them, and also with this Toyota branding here. There's a clever console here. Just by some of the modernities, I don't think it's original with the cup holders. And then there's some storage here and some storage down there as well. There are even cup holders in the rear for rear passengers. But here, the look at the front seats. They look to be original seats. However, this seat cover on the driver's side is different from the passenger, and it doesn't match the seat back. So I'm thinking that this seat bottom on the driver's side's been updated. There's a tear on it on the side and a couple of seam splits here on the seat back. But climbing into the cockpit, there's an 80 mile per hour speedometer, and there's a kilometer an hour reading as well, going up to 140 kilometers an hour. The odometer reads 10,507, but this is going to be a true mileage unknown, TMU unit. We're not sure about how authentic that mileage is, given that it's only 5 characters. So there's a light controller, and there are these vents as well on each side. They blow hot air onto the door windows to help keep them defrosted in case you're driving in cold weather. Some supplementary gauges down below for oil pressure, fuel level, temperature, and then an amp meter. And here are basic HVAC controls, wiper washer, and here's that choke I was operating earlier. A couple warning lights for emergency brake and fasten belts. Here are some instructions not only for shifting gears, but also for the four-wheel drive system to move between 4 high and 4 low, and then again from 4 low to 2 low. Tray here, and a good handlebar for the passenger. One thing I note, there's no headliner in this Toyota, and you can see that the inside of the top looks a little distressed, but it kind of adds to the theme of the look of this Toyota. Manual windows, manual locks, no air conditioning. Pretty basic unit in terms of options. As I was saying earlier, this car is more about ruggedness and reliability than luxuries. So now we'll get a look at the area for the rear occupants. So a big utility look to it right now with the seats folded up. A good amount of space for cargo, if that's what you're using it for. But there are 2 seats back here. They're strapped down. So you release those straps, you push those legs forward for them to fold out. And there you've got a seat for a rear passenger. And they are equipped with seat belts, as you see. So I'll demonstrate this one as well, maybe without the leg and without the seat belt, but it pops right down. I don't think you want to sit on it without that leg underneath you, but it's easy enough to operate as I showed. Big roll bar, so I'd call it a 4-point roll bar. There's one sort of behind the front seats, and then it's supported here on the rear as well. I think I pointed out the trail hitch, but if not, there it is. And then these latches. This is how to open this left side door from the inside. And of course, this one's openable from the outside. So I'll tour around it one more time. But that's a pretty good look at the 1979 Toyota Land Cruiser FJ40. It's in its element here out in the woods. there's a good look at it. And we'll go forward to finish up with some concluding thoughts. So there's a good look at the 1979 Toyota Land Cruiser FJ40. Again, the 40 series, known more for ruggedness and reliability over luxury and technology. You can see that this is a rugged looking machine built to last. Starts beautifully, idles freely. And as I say, this seller opted for our mobile pre-purchase inspection. The inspector's due here in a couple of hours. So do take a look at the inspection results on our detailed listing. In addition to that inspection, in addition to this video, we'll have probably 8 or 10 videos of the car in operation, over 100 photos certainly, and our normal detailed paragraph form listing. So please take a look. I don't have a lot number for you today, but it's going to be CollectorCarCanada.CA. Just search in our search bar, use 1979 Toyota Land Cruiser FJ40. It'll pop right up. And I think that concludes this video. Beautiful day. I'm going to go enjoy it. So 1979 Toyota FJ40 Land Cruiser. Thank you for watching, and on to the next car. Bye for now.